Hey guys, what's poppin'? What's smackin'? What's going on? Quarantine. Yeah, that's my opening. Jesus. Yeah, if you guys don't want to like hear me talk for the next several minutes, just put on some music and watch the video. But this is just gonna be some updates, and then I'm gonna talk about my drawing as it goes on, depending on how much time I have left. But yeah, so just hopping right in. If you haven't noticed, I have not been doing speed paints since October or September or something like that. That's just because speed paints take a lot of time. Nowadays I'm working on like 5 different drawings at once. So it generally just takes a lot more time than before. And I'm also trying to, oh geez, lots of noise. I'm also trying to work on more illustrative pieces, and those don't necessarily have like the same visual appeal as most speed paints do. So yeah. The last 2 videos I made, one was a OC voice claim video, another was just some animation practice. If I ever do more videos on this channel, it might look a lot more like that. However, if people do want to see more speed paints or see like maybe a drawing stream, I'm definitely open to doing those. I just need to have someone ask, since they take time, and I'm not sure if I necessarily have the effort, I guess, to make something that I'm not even sure people will like. So I'm on Instagram and Tumblr, as well as Redbubble, which I have a very funny ad for on my Good Omens speed paint, and I will drop that there. If you guys want to contact me about art or things for my YouTube, or just what do you want to see from me, or shared interests, I guess, just hop on over there, send me a message, send me a DM or an ask. Look at me, hip with the kids. I'm 17 years old and I sound like a boomer. Yeah, I'm currently into D&D and stuff, as well as my OCs. I have so many drawings on my OCs. That's probably what the content will be like, unless there's a bunch of requests for some other fan thing. I don't know what people are into. Whatever. But yeah, that's basically it. So I'm just gonna talk a little bit about my art, if y'all want to hear it. So this is just a annual redraw that I do every year. I made the designs when I was 12. Let's do some math. Yep, when I was 11. And I just like having an anchor point to go back to and see how I improve. By just drawing the same thing over every single year, you can see oh, I improved on my shading. I did a lot more anatomy this year. My composition looks nicer. It's just nice to have a visual representation of my progress with one picture. But in this drawing, what I changed, I guess, most from last year was I made it a lot more static. There's not that much motion, but I think that's nice because it reflects what I'm currently doing. So I do a lot of character illustration nowadays, and usually the poses aren't that dynamic. It's more about doing how nice I can make the lighting look, or my use of colors or something like that. It's just a good reflection of where I am in my artistic journey right now, as opposed to last year where I was really into effects and just pushing poses to weird boundaries, I guess. I did a lot better on my line art this year. It's still really scribbly. I guess that's my thing. But I do a lot of cleanup nowadays. When you see the transition from the initial posing sketch right to the line art, I don't really do many in-betweens. It's just cleaning up my line art, making it bolder, all that kind of stuff. I don't do in-between sketches. Now that I'm into shading, I've done a lot better on my my cell shading, because I started blurring some bits a bit more. There's a lot more intention, I guess. In my earlier art days. I used to do way more complex shading than I did in like the one I did last year. Last year it was just cell shading with like a solid color, not that much blending. Maybe there was like gradients here or there, not that much. When I was like 12, I used to do a lot of cell shading mixed with gradients, and then I stepped away from that, and now I'm doing it again. I guess like things just go full circle, except now I have a much better understanding of like shapes and form. Oh god, I sound so pretentious. Like of like, you know, where the shadows go. Especially with fabric. I've always struggled with fabric, and I still do. I'm not saying that like my art is like a masterpiece or anything. I just think it's much better than it was several years ago. But I use basically the same technique for my like my clothing shading ever since I was 12. Keep going back to that number. Yeah. There's a lot of like the people say valleys and peaks. That's definitely true. I do a lot more effects nowadays as well. As you can see, after my basic shadow layer, I start putting on like the overlay for like the highlights where the chest is, where the head is. And I use the colors that I use. I get asked this question a lot. Like, how do you choose your colors for your drawings? Well, obviously the character itself has its own color, but I guess they mean the shading. The shading, I always want the shadows and highlights to reflect the background or the atmosphere of the drawing. This one, there's no like emotion in it. If it was more intense, I would have used very bold neon colors. If it was very mellow, I would have used more grays and blues. I use red and yellow for this one. Red because like it's kind of like the outline that I use for them. And yellow is just so it balances out and it matches the background. With a calm, yeah, whatever, drawing like this, I want it to stand out from the background, but I don't want it to be jarring. So I like to use similar color palettes in the shading as the background, so it kind of like meshes it together, if that makes sense. But yeah, that's basically my thought process. When doing stuff in depth, I also like to kind of like add more atmosphere to things in the back, which is why I put on the yellow. You know what? Yeah, not that much to say about it. That's just like my drawing process. So I really hope you guys like this. If you want me to talk more on my next video, I guess, let me know. Let me know what you want to see. Yeah. So, bye!